Stacy Swiderski, CEO and founder of Family Source Consultants, and welcome back to our Bringing Dreams and Miracles Together podcast. Niki Renslow, our Senior Program Director, meets with Nicole Johnson-Apfel, our Senior Match Specialist, to talk about one of the most important aspects in the surrogacy journey, which is the match meeting between intended parents and their potential surrogate. In this episode, Niki and Nicole share expert advice on how both parties can best prepare for what to expect during the meeting and how to foster a strong, trusting relationship from day one. Whether you're an intended parent excited to meet the woman who may help grow your family or a surrogate ready to embark on this journey, this episode offers invaluable guidance to help you step into that first conversation with clarity and confidence.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining the Family Source Consultants podcast. My name is Niki Renslow, Senior Program Director, and today we are meeting with Nicole Johnson-Apfel, our Senior Match Specialist, to talk about one of the most pivotal points in a journey, which is the match meeting between intended parents and potential surrogates. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me, for joining me today to chat about the match meeting. I know that it's probably one of the most anticipated things when it comes to a journey, right? Because the intended parents are meeting their surrogate. So I love that we can kind of chat about this and chat through the process.
Yes.
Um, Let me ask you, what exactly is a match meeting and why is it such an important process of the surrogacy journey?
So our match meetings are a pivotal step in in the surrogacy journey because it's a formal conversation between the intended parents and the surrogate and is facilitated by myself or one of our other match specialists.
Amazing. What do you tell intended parents or surrogates ahead of time? Like, how should they prepare, whether it be emotionally, mentally, or even logistically for their first meeting?
Well, I tell them there's a couple different aspects to preparing. It's like an emotional preparation, mental, and then also it's super important because when we're reviewing profiles, we present a profile when they review it. Paperwork and profiles can tell you a lot, but the match meeting would offer the opportunity to connect one-on-one on a more personal level. So some things I tell our intended parents and surrogates to do to prepare emotionally would be just to kind of reflect on what their goal is, some expectations they may have. I always tell everyone to keep an open mind because you are meeting someone that may have some different beliefs than you or different lifestyles. So we always say keep an open mind and then also just come prepared to be yourself and be vulnerable.
Absolutely. And it's a good chance to meet someone, right? And be prepared because they may be in your life anywhere from 12 months to 2 years, right? Dependent on
Right.
the process. So this is a good time to chat and make sure that we have, that first connection, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Can you tell me what types of questions are typically asked during the match meeting and what are some essentially questions that both sides might not think about to ask but should?
So, some questions we ask both the intended parents and the surrogate start with why did you choose this journey? And that can be an emotional answer. So, we always give the parties the space and time they need to kind of answer that. And we encourage them to answer as deep as they want or as much as they want to go into their story. We'll ask them, what they expect out of the journey, what kind of relationship they hope to have during the journey, after the journey. We will go over some medical decisions such as selective reduction, termination, how often they like to communicate throughout the journey, if the surrogate is comfortable with the intended parents, if it's feasible to come along to those doctor's appointments, and then some expectations around the delivery hospital experience, how involved they would like their partner or spouse to be, and any other considerations or things like that that they would like us to be aware of.
Absolutely. I think that that's super helpful. We want to make sure that not only do we hit those big matching points, right? Whether it's the vaccinations or the terminations, how many embryos to transfer, of course, communication, but the introduction of themselves, right? What's gotten the intended parents to this point? What's gotten the surrogate to this point? Why do you want to move forward and be a surrogate on the journey, right? And make sure that, of course, we're here to facilitate any questions and that it's comfortable, right? And we want everyone
Yes,
to be comfortable and relaxed. Like it's okay. It's like our little chaperone first date almost. We're
exactly.
here to walk you through it. that leads me to ask you, what are some signs during the meeting that indicate a strong potential match? Or conversely, what would you say might not make them the right fit?
Okay, so to start, some signs that it's going well and it's going to be a good match would be that the conversation is easy flowing, natural. There may be some like shared humor back and forth, even though the nerves are kind of strong. Just some kind of sense of peace sometimes. Mutual respect, and that all parties are listening to each other. Similar views, the key issues like communication, the medical decisions, the boundaries, what they expect from the journey. And a lot of times I hear this from intended parents and also the surrogates is that they just have that gut feeling that this is their match because they felt a connection and then they felt comfortable.
I completely agree. And I do like to say one thing, we will never ask on the meeting. We'll never put anyone on the spot if you want to move forward. So everybody is reached out to separately afterwards, right? Just
Right.
to allow everyone to take that time to digest and have that comfort and not put anyone on the spot, which is why, hey, we'll follow up afterwards.
And some
Amazing.
red flags of maybe not connecting, maybe
Yeah.
not being a match, which is rare, I would like to say, because usually we do really
Yeah.
well with our matching process, but it happens. And so it would be like some major differences in expectations, maybe some differences in the boundaries of what the journey looks like. Again, this is rare because we cover this before even sharing their profile. But it happens. Maybe some discomfort, or maybe just is not a comfortable conversation or meeting, and then maybe just lack of communication throughout the meeting. Those are kind of some red flags that it may not be the best match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay if it isn't, right? Like we
Mhm.
never force a match. If it's not, that's
Right.
all right. You let us know and we'll continue to move forward, and present other potential matches. So that's a good breakdown. Thank you so much.
Yes.
What role do you, as an agency professional, play during the match meeting to help ensure it's a positive and productive experience?
Well, like you mentioned before, we're kind of like the chaperone on that
Yeah.
first date. So we do the facilitation of the meeting. We are there to guide the discussion. We help navigate all those delicate topics, ensure that all parties feel heard and respected. We also kind of take mental notes and kind of feel like the comfort level of alignment or misalignment. And then we make sure that all parties are just, comfortable. And again, we never ask throughout the meeting if they're going to proceed with the match. We ask separately and privately. But it's really our job just to ensure that the meeting goes as smooth as possible.
I completely agree. And that's definitely the goal. We set the proper expectations ahead of time, right? Ask all parties what do they want to know ahead of time so we can make sure everybody is definitely as prepared as they can be, right?
Yes.
Do you have like one or two stories where thoughtful preparation really made a difference in building, a lasting and coming together as that successful match?
I have a few I can think of. So just
Okay.
recently, obviously not sharing names or anything, but recently, about a week and a half ago, I did a match meeting, and the intended parents were so excited to meet the surrogate. They actually, because throughout the surrogate profile, you'll kind of get a sample of who they are, what their interests are, what kind of things like that. And so they took it upon themselves to kind of research a little bit about what her hobby was. So they would just have some common interests with her throughout the meeting. And you could tell that just meant so much to the surrogate that they took just that little bit of time to just, think about her and want to know more about what she does, just on her own time and things like that. So it made for a really special and sweet match meeting. And I could literally tell within the first 5 minutes of the match meeting that they were going to match and it was going to be perfect. Like they acted like they had been like matched all along, that this was not their first time meeting, and the meeting was just so smooth, conversation flowed. Everybody was just so easygoing. So that was probably one of my most recent ones. That was my favorite one. And then I actually have another one about 2 weeks ago where it was the surrogate that took more of a liking to like the intended parents of our, as far as like, their journey and their goals and things like that, which comforted the intended parents because they had a little bit of a harder journey to get here. And so she was just empathetic and just really sympathetic to their story, and they hit it off right away as well.
I like I like that one too, right? I recently had one where they were discussing cellos. They each had family members who played the cello, and you're like, what? Like, these are
Mhm.
almost things that you don't expect. So that's what I love when you share those profiles and immediately they identify like that mutual connection and it's brought up during the meetings because I think it helps make everybody a little bit more calm and relaxed and like, okay, it's something else to
Yes,
talk about, right? Which
right.
sometimes can help those nerves.
Yes. Yep. Talking
Amazing.
about goals or
Yes.
dreams or hobbies or things like that kind of take the stress and the nerves off of the actual journey and all of like, those hard questions and medical questions and things like that. It's
Mhm.
just a kind of a nice buffer.
I completely agree. What advice do you have for intended parents and surrogates before their meeting?
I would say, as I mentioned before, just come and be yourself and be ready to be vulnerable. I would also say to make sure, because it is technology and we typically meet on Zoom, so make sure that you test technology. I have this happen sometimes where people are like, oh my gosh, my Zoom's not working. And it is a virtual meeting, so we want to make sure that, everything's working because technology sometimes can just be technology.
Yes.
And so, another thing that I would advise both parties is to have questions written down because nerves kind of take over sometimes. I always offer, obviously, that they can email if they forget something or throughout the meeting if they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to ask, and we ended the meeting. And so just come prepared with questions written down. It just helps keep the conversation focused and it makes sure that it ensures that we're covering everything that's most important to the intended parent or the surrogate.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, just really be yourself. I say the more you prepare for the meeting, it's more kind of robotic. So I always say, don't really worry about preparing. Just come be yourself, have those questions written down, and just come with an open heart. And then we'll see how it goes.
I agree. And you have us, we'll host it, we'll ask all the hard
Yes.
questions, right? And
Yes.
we got you.
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Nicole. I appreciate you joining me today and having this
Of
conversation.
course.
We definitely hope that it will be helpful. I think that it will be. And any questions, don't ever hesitate to call us, text us, or email us. We're here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.